Good evening and welcome to Bradley Central High School preseason look at coming up today about the 2019 football season. Being joined now by our two good friends, Earl Rowan, who's my play-by-play guy with me and the analyst, and also Gwen Schroeder, who'll be working with us quite a lot this year and also conducting the video. We'll talk about all that as we get into the game there. But guys, before we go any further, we're talking football here, but we certainly had a huge loss to the school system in our community this week when Liz Hannah Jackson passed away after an illness. And we'd just like to take a moment and make some comments about her and what she's meant to this school, this community, the athletic program, and just overall everything here at Bradley.
Yeah, Gary, our hearts were certainly saddened just days ago at the loss of Liz. You know, sometimes at the passing of any outstanding athlete, we may overwork the term all-time greats. Everybody is not an all-time great, but Liz is an all-time great.
Absolutely.
Barrett.
Yeah.
You don't have to go any further to start picking some of the outstanding players. No matter who you're talking with, Liz Hannah Jackson was right there. She's still the number 2 scorer. She is a Hall of Famer. I've crossed paths with Liz back when she was in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at Michigan Avenue Elementary School, playing basketball for Coach Sam Ledford.
Right.
And my goodness, she could stroke it, beautiful shot, and could fill it up from what is now 3-point range, even as a 7th grader. She came on to an outstanding career with Coach Smitty and the Barretts. Of course, the highlight was that state championship game in
with
1970.
A hootenanny shot.
Yeah, she, much like this past year with Hannah Lombard, it came down to a tie-breaking shot in the final 3 or 4 seconds of the game,
right.
And Liz broke a tie with Warren County to win that one in 1973 with that famous hootenanny shot, which is a little dipsy-doodle, you know, a special move that you don't see.
Right.
It wasn't a conventional 22-foot long-range shot, but boy, oh boy, what an exciting moment that was. And hey, it's going to be tough, and not just in the coming days, but Liz is going to be missed year after year after year.
She just had an extremely wonderful knack for brightening everybody's day. I'll give you an example of that. We had set up for a game 2 years ago. It was a basketball game, home game, and everything was ready. Cams were good. Students were, enjoying themselves. And she was out there just hitting threes. I don't know if she missed during the time I was watching. I was floored. And I knew that she could shoot it. She does it all the time. That was kind of the thing. I went down on the court, and I wasn't asking for a lesson like I was going to try out for the NBA or anything, but I said, what is it you're doing with your hand and that little flip? And she laughed, and she showed me and tried to show me, and then she'd just shoot it. And I would try it, and she bent over and slapped her legs laughing at me. And it still made my day because it was fun, but, she was wonderful. Anytime, she was around, always make a point to, cheer somebody on and cheer somebody up, and just a wonderful family legacy.
Well, 2 daughters were Barretts, in Brittany and Lindsay, and her husband, of course, athletic director Turner Jackson, been here a long time. Himself a Hall of Fame member in the wrestling, every Hall of Fame that you can have in the wrestling world. Of course, Liz in the Hall of Fame at Cleveland State. She still holds records at Middle Tennessee State, where she finished up her education before becoming a teacher, and she will be missed. And our thoughts and our prayers and our heart go out to Turner and the girls. And Rita Hannah, her sister, is also a Hall of Fame member in a retired jersey, the same number 25 jersey that all 4 of those ladies wore. So,
and Gary, one thing that you can't coach that Liz had from the time she was a little girl was that infectious smile.
Right. That's
man,
true.
Oh man, have either of you guys ever encountered Liz when she was not smiling broadly? I mean, her smile would light up any room. I mean, it was just fantastic.
We'll miss her, and as we said, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family. Guys, let's talk about football. Last year, we're going to just briefly touch. We ended our season, and Gwen, you were there. Wet, miserable, rainy night up at Science Hill. We lost, 24-21, and last second field goal with 3 seconds to go.
Those last few minutes just felt like we're getting the momentum. We're charging ahead.
Well, Gwen and Gary, it was a game where we had complete control of the game. We had a touchdown lead on the road against a quality team in Science Hill, but we had a touchdown lead at halftime, and you just felt good about your chances to win that one until the last few minutes of the ball game. They got the ball in a tie situation, and they had one outstanding pass play from midfield that set up the little chip shot, 24-yard field goal in the last couple of seconds of the ball game. In fact, it was going through as time was expiring.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was shades of Blackman. Remember Blackman, 3 seasons ago?
Yeah.
Another field goal with no time on the clock in a playoff situation, elimination game. Just crazy the way things happen. But we're moving on into this season and looking at what we have coming back, returning. We had 20-something seniors graduate from the program last year. This year we don't have near that many seniors. I believe it's the count right now is about 18 seniors that are playing for the team. But we're going to be looking at a little bit different offense, guys. We've had in the past, starting when Damon took over with Keith Freeman as offensive coordinator, now Matt Moody the last 2 or 3 years, with Bryce Copeland, Brett Stanford, Cole Copeland, Dylan Stanford. You don't get much better than that at the high school level and at quarterbacks. And we've had 4. Every one of them set the other guys' records as they moved into their, each season. Earl, it was just.
And Javen Burt. Hey, the first couple of weeks, Gary, his family might forgive us if we don't label him as Javen Copeland or Javen Stanford. I mean, it's been a while since we've had a Bear quarterback other than the Copeland or Stanford family, and boy, they have produced in outstanding fashion. But hey, Javen is right there for the next couple of years, has similar athletic skills. He can beat you with his legs or with that throwing arm. So I look forward to unwrapping a new quarterback and the offense is pretty well back intact, but the defense, boy, it's got to be rebuilt and replaced. Lost a lot of people on that defensive front.
Well, Gwen, you've seen, I think you saw every game last year, too. And, of course, the quarterback play was remarkable. We got Ricky McClary, a senior, coming back. And he had 1,100 yards or something last year. So,
and I think he's got it in mind. He still has something to prove. We're not lacking in quality. You don't measure quality by everybody that you had. You measure the quality by what happens on the field. And that's the expectation. So, same thing. Ricky gets on the field. His motivation is not squandered at all. He's ready to find the open hole, find the move, whatever it takes to get the extra yards, and go right back to it.
And he can do that. We look for him to have an outstanding senior season. I've talked with Coach Floyd several times, and he said he doesn't have the depth that he's had in the past. Matter of fact, looking at his breakdown, he has 18 seniors, 18 juniors, 28 sophomores, and 29 freshmen. So he's loaded at the lower grades. His junior and sophomore classes are really, he's expecting great things out of those, as well as the senior class, of course, this year. So he's got about 93 or 94 bodies out there in the program. He said that's about what they like. You get 120, 130, it's way too many, and it's you don't have enough coaches to go around, when you get to a situation like that.
Although we have a lot of coaches.
Yes, we do.
I'm just saying.
But at a 6A level, that's what I've got to have about that.
You've got to personally meet every kid's needs on the pregame, fundamentals.
Well, talking about defense now, last year 5 opponents had 8 points or less, and especially that run at the end. I think we had 4 consecutive games where we gave up less than 10 points, and then the last game gave up 24 in that one, Earl. But we had some head knockers last year on defense, and I've seen them in practice. I've seen them in scrimmage. We've got some of those this year. We had a major blow when we lost Ken's Hooper for the year of the ACL tear.
Ken's
major blow. He would be a junior this year.
Yeah, as a sophomore last year, he was a mainstay.
Yeah.
in our defensive linebacking core. And he's the type player that you can build your defense around. And that was a huge blow in losing him for his entire junior year. But that's good, the fact that he does have a senior year a year from now. It would have been a terrible blow if he'd been going into his senior year.
Yeah, because he's got college aspirations and well-deserved.
Definitely, a college prospect, and he was sensational last year. After he got a couple of games experience under his belt, man, he performed last year like the typical high school senior.
I bumped into his dad in town recently, Kenny Hooper, who we all know, a superstar stud at the Bears as a football player himself, went to Ole Miss and played there, and he said, I said, how's Ken taking? He said, well, he's taking a lot better than I am. And Kenny said, you know what's crazy is I went through 4 years at Ole Miss and never got hurt. And he said I had roommates and teammates on my team that got hurt and their career was over. I didn't have any kind of injury, and here Ken's, his son, gets that as a junior year. But the defense, you got to build around someone. So when we're going to be searching to see who's going to be the guy to be the team leader, and we'll find out real quickly because Farragut's going to be our first foe, and they shut us out 34-0 last year.
And they have a preview of years past. They love to throw that ball to the corners, and we've got to cover our corners.
Well, it's going to be tough, and there's something that's odd. I noticed this. I think Joe Cannon pointed this out to me. Our quarterback transferred to McCalla this year. Javen Burke, he's going to be starting. A former quarterback, Tucker Pope, transferred to Walker Valley. He's going to start for them. And Walker Valley's quarterback, who's a back up there, transferred to Cleveland. He's going to be starting for Cleveland High School. So you got the merry-go-round going on here.
And the quarterback club of musical quarterbacks.
Quarterback shuffle.
And we'll see who comes out on top because we play those guys, and obviously we'll match up them during the season here. Also, something else that Damon's pointed out, talking about Farragut. We opened them last year and got shut out 34-0. Earl, we remember the debacle there, 8 turnovers, 4 in the first quarter, and it was a nightmare from day one.
Let me mention just half a minute here on that. Gary, a couple of days ago, I was looking back at my last year's stats, and it didn't really dawn on me when you get beat 34-0, the season opener, you're ready to close your stat book and hit the road for home, That's the way we felt last year. We got off to a terrible start of the season, but when you turn the ball over literally 8 times, you're not going to win too many football games.
Even against a bad team,
but
let alone
here's the thing that I didn't fully get, and I don't know if you remember this or not. Gwen, I don't know if you picked up on this. We had more first downs than Farragut did in a 34-0 loss by 5.
No, I didn't know that.
We also had more than 330 yards total offense and put 0 points on the board. And here's what really got me. I looked at the length of my stats and I thought, wait a minute, we had more time of possession. So then play by play, I went back and counted. You would not believe, but we had 29 more offensive plays than Farragut. If you just take the stats and look at that, you would have thought, well,
if you leave out the fumbles.
If you leave out the fumbles.
We had the opportunity.
We had the opportunity. And we moved the football. Ricky McClary, you mentioned, had a great game in that opening start. We moved the football, but couldn't put points on. We stopped ourselves. And Gary, I've been doing this a long, long time. I can also tell you that we have not ever turned the ball over 6 times in either half of any football game ever.
Till then.
Yeah. We had 6 turnovers in the first half alone, 4 in the first quarter.
Right.
Yeah, that was hard.
It's difficult. The old proverbial digging yourself a hole.
Yeah. It was wide and deep.
Yeah. We had a ditch that was just too deep to climb out.
A chasm, I guess we call it. But, well, we're going to open with them again this year, and Damon pointed this out to me. Last year we opened with them and lost 34-0. They also ended Travis Adams' baseball season in the Final Four this past May over at Middle Tennessee. And then if you go back to 1995, you were there, Earl, on the radio, the 7 overtime game that's still the record for most overtimes in Tennessee high school football. We lost 65-64. Marty Wiles, the coach then, 7 overtimes. And Travis Adams and
Coach Floyd
both on there. Travis scored 2 touchdowns. He told me this yesterday. He scored 2 touchdowns there. Both those guys went on to win state championships in wrestling that same year. 145 for Travis, 160 for Damon. And Damon said, Farragut has my number. He's had. We were 1-12 against him, I believe. I looked at the record. I think we were 1-12 against Farragut, so we just don't beat them often. But we'll see. Our good friend Donald Dodgen, their AD, will be down here with them when they come in.
And I don't guess, Gary, any team on our schedule, we like to talk about the continuity of coaching. This is Coach Floyd's 14th season.
Exactly.
Well, Coach Eddie Courtney has him almost doubled up. This is Coach Courtney's 24th year at Farragut. And since Eddie Courtney has been there, they have been perennial contenders. They regularly win 8 and 9 games, and
every
they're
year.
Always in the playoffs.
Every year they are.
Have a quality program at Farragut.
That's the kind of team you want to start out with.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
it's a non-region game.
It's going to test your mettle.
Yeah.
It's going to figure every game ethic you have into play, which I kind of like that.
Yeah, and that's one thing that you can look and analyze Coach Damon Floyd. He doesn't just talk about, we're going to beef up our schedule. He goes out and does it. I mean, we don't have to open with Farragut. We didn't have to put Knox Bearden on our schedule this year in a non-region game. Every year he's one of the few coaches that says, hey, I look forward to playing Maryville. Right. And sometimes we play Maryville twice.
Yeah. Well, we have, yes, we have.
In the playoffs,
back
too.
To back
but
sometimes.
It just can't help but improve your program when you play other quality programs.
Well, this year, the way the schedule rolls out, we only have 4 home games. We have 6 games on the road, but that's just the way it had to be this year to get a 10th opponent. Same schedule as last year, except we'll flip locations where we're playing those guys, except we'll pick up Bearden in place of Ray County. There's another quality team out of the Knoxville area. Bearden is always strong. We've played them many times in the past, but not going to go through all of last year's scores, but forget the Farragut blowout, the first one. We come back and beat our all 3 rivals, Cleveland, Walker Valley, and Cleveland, and handily beat them. No one was in 14 points that was there. The game that really sticks in my craw, going back to last year, is the Oodawal game. We lost here. We had a 14-point lead, missed the extra point. And you or I on the radio said, I hope that doesn't come back to bite us. Maybe Joe Ken, who works with us on the radio there, too. And sure enough, we lost that 28-27 when they scored late, kicked the extra point, and beat us. That region loss knocked us to 3rd and put us on the road. We win that, we're hosting at home.
That's right.
First round.
Changed the entire complexion of the season. And Gary, when that happened, we were already approaching midway the 3rd quarter and scored to take a 27-7 lead. And then in a matter of 8 minutes, 8 minutes, we gave up 3 quick scores, and by the end of the 3rd quarter, Oodawal had taken a lead, and remarkably, in an exciting 4th quarter, neither team scored after a flurry of action in the 3rd quarter.
It was wild and crazy, but opening with Farragut, that's our first game, and it will be at home. We'll go to Walker Valley, then Heritage, who will come here. We beat them last year there. Then we'll go to Bearden and have the Oodawal game at Oodawal, of course. The open weekend, then Cleveland, which, the way I understand it right now, according to Damon, that will be our senior night, although that's not our last home game because they're going to have homecoming. They didn't want to have homecoming the night of the Cleveland game, so they're going to have homecoming, the final game, William Blunt game this year.
I looked ahead at that schedule about a month ago, earlier in the summer, and I wondered how we were going to handle that, the last 2 games, senior night and homecoming.
It makes a lot of sense.
Somebody came up with a great idea, just to flip-flop and have senior night for Cleveland and homecoming with William Blunt. I hadn't even thought about flip-flopping that, but makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does too. And let's talk about this year's captains now. These are you've been retired 3 years now, but you're here and you see a lot of these kids, and I see them a lot too. Tucker Steele, Ricky McCleary, Sailor Clark, C.J. Dills, and Cam Arrowwood that are selected by the team. They vote on that, and they picked out these guys to be their captains this year. So I think you've got 5 guys of high character, integrity, well-rounded.
Well liked by the teachers.
Yes.
Teachers probably would have picked them if they had the voice.
And the team obviously thought they deserved to be named a captain. So congratulations to those
That's
guys, and we'll look forward to that. You can only put 4 on the field at one time. That's the TSSAA rule when they go out for the coin toss. So I'm sure they'll rotate through that each game there. But we talk about a lot of things. Let's talk about Coach Floyd for a minute. Entering his 14th year, as you mentioned, Earl. 80-63 record, 80 wins, 63 losses. That's second all-time most wins, second longest tenure of any coach besides Jimmy Lovell, who was here from 1917 to 1938, 22 seasons. And Damon's put us in the playoffs 9 straight times. He came in, we were 1-9, and we were literally at rock bottom in the world of high school football in 6A. There's no way to cover that. We were just not good.
Yeah, and just
had we not just lost to Walker Valley?
Yes, I think we did.
Right before.
And 2 seasons before that, the season before that 1-9, 0-10.
Oh, I know. I remember that.
We lost 19 out of 20 games.
We were
back-to-back seasons.
We were bad.
We were at a low ebb. Yeah. That's just putting it mildly. And Damon struggled, as any coach would, any coaching staff, for the first 2 or 3 seasons. I mean,
he was 2-8 2 years in a row.
Yeah, and it's tough rebuilding a football program in high school or college that is down. Ask Jeremy Pruitt. I mean, it takes a few seasons, but boy, oh boy, the Bradley faithful, I think they knew what they had in a very young, remember
27.
14 years ago, Damon, a very young high school head coach.
Right.
At the time, I believe, Gary, one of the youngest in the entire state of Tennessee.
I think he really was, yeah.
And some...
barely out of college, really, you know.
Yeah, some folks questioned maybe he's a little too young. Man, oh man, that was one of the best moves that Bradley leadership made in handing the reins to Damon Floyd, because after those first 2 or 3 seasons, the last 6, 8, 9 seasons, Gary, you and I have had fun, and more
everybody
excitement.
has. Everybody, the whole community.
Well, and somebody say, why is he so successful? Well, one thing, the kids would die for him. The kids love him. I mean, they just really love him. I've had other schools say, boy, I wish we had a coach like that. Yeah. And looking at around the county, Cleveland High School and Walker Valley, our 2 county schools besides Bradley Central, they've had 5 head coaches during his tenure.
That's right.
It's sort of like a revolving door almost. And I think the thing that brought pride back to the program was the fact that Damon wore the black and gold.
That's right.
He was a record-setting running back when he graduated in 95.
One of our best.
I think it means so much to the school to have someone. I was there. I wore the black and gold, and he has the pride and the inspiration for these kids to want to lift them up, and he's done a great job of that.
Do you remember maybe 5 years ago when they had the alumni game? And
yes.
he put it back on?
Yes, he did.
That was awesome.
Because he didn't get to play against Cleveland when he was here.
Right.
That's the period when they weren't playing, and
that was pretty awesome.
It was great. We had the biggest crowd that year, besides the Cleveland game, which we hosted. That was the largest crowd we had all year long that night of the alumni game. It was amazing. In April.
And there were some quality athletes out
there.
Yes,
they were.
Some of them were, let's say, a little beyond 30 years of age. Including Brian Copeland. He was a little beyond 40 years of age.
Some sore boys, too, the next day.
Oh, some sore, aching muscles afterwards.
Took himself out, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe he did. Tap me out.
When Sawyer said that, Brian.
I'm saying, I would have, put me in for one play. That's all I'm good for. So.
Speaking of Brian Copeland, got something to report about him in a second. But this year, as always, you can buy tickets, bear tickets here at the school, at the bank. You can buy them at Gobbles Automotive. You can buy them at Cook's Food Store, Town Square, or the Medical Center. Tickets are all $7 a piece, which they are set by the region. That's a price that's set throughout the entire region. That's what you'll pay.
That's a bargain.
It's a bargain.
For an evening, that is an absolute bargain.
And it's a donation. I get on my soapbox every year. Come on, folks, come to the game. Donate $7. don't come and say, well, I'm so-and-so, I need to get in free. You know, school needs, especially
It
4
doesn't
home
work
games.
anyway.
That's 4 home games, you know.
Yeah, that's
we need
normally
money.
with a 5-game schedule. That's just $35 for a season pass. I mean, really,
$28 this year for you know, for that. But mentioning the season pass and season tickets, you get them from Brian Copeland, who's president of the Booster Club again, and he told me something on the phone the other day. He said, we're going to do a little special deal. It's $50, you know, to have a season pass, and he said, well, that's just 4 games, people. And I think, well, next year we got 6 games. And you're still just going to pay $50 next year. So you get the bonus game next year by helping us out a little bit this year. So keep that in mind. Buy your tickets as you come in. Usually some of the other programs, tracks, soccer, volleyball, they're taking up money as a $3 donation to park. You know, give them $3. That's nothing.
Buy one of those comfortable chairback seats they have.
Yeah.
Those are wonderful.
Oh,
I've got
yes.
one.
I do too. Got a couple of those. But yeah, support our program. They deserve it. They've earned it. We want you to be there. If you're excited about being in the Booster Club for $45, you get a reserved parking spot behind the press box, right where we're all going to be set up. So you can get for $45 a season pass there. And as a quick reminder, all that money goes to the football program. It goes nowhere else to anyone besides the football program. Now we're going to get into the fun part here. Radio. We're going to be on radio again. Talk 1013, The Buzz. Earl and I do play-by-play and analysis as we have for many, many years. Coach Gwynn, he used to be a coach. He's going to be with us on the sidelines every week and join us in the pregame show, talk about things there. So we'll have our 6 o'clock, go live from the field, 6 o'clock. We'll have our pregame recordings with the player of the week, our award-winning football panel. Lady Cartwright makes me call it award-winning. Reminds me of that.
All right. It's all right.
And then, of course, Damon's coach's interview each week, which we'll record and have that for playback during that pregame part of it, go live at 7:30. Gwen, but tell us now, important thing too, what you're going to be doing in the way of streaming and so forth. Good.
Right, we have been so fortunate and blessed. The school asked me 4 years ago to begin streaming, and we started with football. I think there was a connection with Todd having a son coming up from middle school, wanted to see him on TV or whatever. So
Sure
we started that season, and we have learned immense, wonderful things to really help this. Last year we interchanged our computer system, went full HD. We have a trailer, we moved that over there. We broadcast on our own website. You can pick that up on BCHS.TV. And that is streaming through YouTube back to our website. So if you want to get a reminder every week before the game is, say you're traveling and you're in Chicago, go to YouTube and sign in. Look for BCHS Bear Network. That's the name of the channel. When you find that, go ahead and click subscribe, and then there's a little bell. Click on that, and it'll send you a reminder each week, before we have a game or when we go live, both. That's a fascinating trend that's nationwide, internationally actually. But we started that last year. We were just using NFHS, which is a subscription-based program that the TSSAA has set up and partnered with, and we still do that. So, for those schools that have been using that, if they want to watch it and they're on the other side of the state or wherever, they want to watch it, we still have that provided, and they pay a subscription, and that comes back to the school, some of it. We also are on Facebook, and I got to tell you guys, Facebook, it's phenomenal. The word got out last year that we were doing Facebook, and I'm just going to give you a number. Let's say the Walker Valley game, we had, I'm going to say, over 600 people watching that live. At the same time on Facebook, we had over 1,200 watching live.
Wow.
Which I think had to do a lot with people in the stadium, and it's one of those social medias that everybody kind of stays connected with. So if you subscribe on Facebook, it's the same name of the channel, BCHS Bear Network, and subscribe. You will get reminders when we go live, and you can watch it on your phone or tablet or even on your computer at home. If you have a smart device on your TV and you're in a hotel room, you plug in your Fire Stick, you can watch it on the big screen. It all looks good. And this is the voices you're going to hear. That's the stupendous part. It's not just the production and how to find it, but you get to hear the radio essence, which I know you love, because we started that last year, bar none. That's what I heard the most comments about. It seemed like hundreds. People saying, how did you talk them into doing that? Well, Steve Hartline loves our programs very much, and
Yes.
it wasn't twisting his arm at all. He really just wanted to know
He was
what we were
delighted
planning
to
on
do it.
doing. He's like, let's do it. And I was just, so elated, and I hear from people all the time, this is awesome. It's like watching, sports on TV from your collegiate or professional, games, because you guys call a game so well, in depth. It's a picture on the radio. You get a mental image. Well, now you have a picture to go with it. So, and it's in sync. It's not like, if you're listening and the play doesn't start yet, it's all together. It's wonderful, very well represented, and it's student produced. The students are the ones running this, and those students then go off to college and into the career field. We have alumni that work for the Golf Channel, ESPN, several news networks, film programs across the state of Tennessee. We have some working in corporate offices, and this is part of that foundation, giving them an opportunity while they're at school in a work-study practicum type oriented project. Now, we're only doing the home games, but we might sneak in a few away games. We'll see how that goes.
Well, and we appreciate, we've heard so many good comments. If you come to the game, you got a smartphone, you can call
watch it.
Facebook right there, YouTube there.
And there's a slight delay. So if you're one of those that like to get a replay, and so the play just happened, right? And you're like hearing, and you think there might be some controversy. Well, it's just delayed a few seconds. So if you're watching, you're going to get to watch it again. Now, we also do replay. In fact, we do really close-up replays, which are on the Jumbotron and also, on the stream. But that's kind of a cool thing,
And you're adding a sideline camera this year.
We're adding a sideline. We have a wireless transmission with a Teradek unit, and so we will have a camera down there only for replay or sideline reporting or some little, queue of information that we might want to, add in, but not for the live play.
And you have supplied us the last 2 or 3 seasons with a student, a Bradley High School student,
Yes.
Tori Freeman, last year.
Yes.
And they're very knowledgeable.
Patrick Moats before that.
Patrick.
Yes, Patrick.
These folks travel with us, and
Right.
we get to know them. And they did a splendid job, and they're very knowledgeable, not only about
still
the
doing it.
behind-the-scenes
Patrick
work.
is studying to be a weatherman. He's at UT Martin.
Yep.
And he is so involved. He did a 1 or 2 week study in Oklahoma this summer to study tornado patterns and be there while it was happening.
Wow.
Tori Freeman is off. I think she left this past weekend. She's at the University of Alabama, and she's studying this.
Yeah.
So really
That's
unique
great.
privilege to have this kind of a program here, and we love it.
And behind the scenes, even we've got some Bradley students working on our operation boards at the studio that put us on the air on the
Right,
radio.
right.
And by the way, we do have our Mix app, My Mix 104 app. You can go download free, and you can listen to any of our stations. And we will have a third station kicking off this year on Labor Day. It's going to be a Spanish language station that you can listen to during the week, and you can hear Walker Valley football there with Cameron Bryant and Andy Morris on Friday nights.
Which also means we stay on the buzz all season, correct?
Yes.
Instead of moving
Yes.
across from time to time or something.
We'll be on the buzz all year.
All
round.
year.
Yeah. So you got 3 stations with all 3 high schools being broadcast live, but we'll have the special streaming broadcast here for a lot of our games there.
Steve is the multimedia guru, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, he is there. Coming up here, we might mention too that our big Friday football program on Mix 104 each week, we will have it 7 to 9 at one of our schools. They're here at Bradley twice. The first time will be October the 4th. On Thursday, though, the 22nd, that's an important date to keep in mind. Thursday, that's the day before all 3 of our schools begin kicking off the season. We do this every year, and Earl, you've been there, at the Greenway, at the pavilion there, the stage at the Greenway, as you right on Raider Drive right there on the side. Bob Kessing, the UT Voice of the Vols, will be
That's
here.
exciting.
He's always come down, bring some posters and schedules to hand out to anybody who wants to come over. We have all of our local coaches from our 3 schools, plus Polk County. I think we have Udwall up here, and I think we've been invited
folks, that's
in.
next week.
That's next
Football season
Thursday.
is here next Thursday
That's next
morning.
Thursday.
That's exciting.
7 o'clock in the morning, Gary. I don't
Yep.
know if that's when it kicks off at the Greenway.
Right.
And Bob Kessling will join us around 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always good to get Bob's perspective on things. He can bring in UT Vol football as well as the local high school. And that's next Thursday morning, the
Beginning at
22nd, from the Greenway Live.
And Gwen, we know you'll be participating in a lot of things like that, but we appreciate your input every year, and we've got together, you and I, a lot and talked about things we can do and how we can improve everything. We'll continue to have our coaches interview filmed with you in the studio here each week.
I appreciate you do that here. It gives us a elite opportunity and a perspective that we wouldn't have, without watching it later.
Well, we're doing things that a lot of schools just don't do, and it just boosts the program and everything.
And part of this program is a 4-time state champion. In fact, I wore the ring today because I was thinking of it. But take a look at that chunk. So every year the kids that win, it's a team of 4 that do the news, and they have won 4 years in a row. Every year they get a championship ring. I have 4 rings. And I tell them it's just to help me remember, because I didn't actually participate. I just encouraged and trained and
Well, you do a great job.
But
that's tremendous.
Pretty neat.
4 consecutive years.
Sound like the Barretts does.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yeah, we hang the banners.
Yeah.
You've got it going back here. That's something to be proud of.
Working it wide open. Just saying.
We're going to wrap it up for now. We've enjoyed this little look at the preseason, the games coming up. A quick look back last year and some thoughts from all of us here and about the media and everything involved. Remember, we can buy your tickets at Golf Automotive, Cook's Food Store, here at the school, the Town Square. I believe I was missing one more there, but you can get them at the same places. Medical Center, that was the other one. So get your tickets, come out to our games each night. Come hungry, go to the concession stand. That supports the band.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
They have all the delicious food. I'm sure Travis Adams will have his left field loungewear, the barbecue, right by the baseball field. If you look at the end zone, the horseshoe end zone there. So come hungry, plan on staying a long time, and we'll be with you.
7:30 kickoff. Nothing has changed there. Remember back in the good old days, it was an 8 o'clock kickoff.
Oh, yeah. Boy, that was...
And now we've been 7:30 for some time, and nothing has changed there. 7:30 kickoff every Friday night.
So join us there. Join us. Come to the game. Bring your media with you. Listen, watch, and enjoy it. Take part in it and support our team. And also, I want to mention, not only you doing football, you did basketball and did wrestling last year.
That's right.
So,
oh my goodness. So exciting. All of it. All Bradley sports. We have done baseball, softball, soccer, volleyball. We've done all of those. But last year, following the Barretts, I mean.
Does it get any better? No, it doesn't. And then that. And those games are still on YouTube. If you want to look those up, you can watch a replay of that championship game. Well, this is Gary Ownbey for Gwen Schroeder, Earl Rowan. You'll see us all and hear us all on Friday night when we kick off on the 23rd. Join us for that Thursday morning, 7 o'clock at the Greenway stage. Meet Bob Kessling from the Tennessee Vols and get your Tennessee posters and schedules at that time. And we'll just have a good time there. Until then, we're going to sign off saying God bless and go Bears.